We are biased for Africa. We believe that we need to innovate for Africa.
Hi everyone, I'm Sabine Van der Linden. I run Venture Labs under the name of Alchemy Crew.
My name is Tunji Andrews, founder and CEO at Awabara.
You need to have products that are simple enough that someone that's never bought insurance before can understand them in a 2-minute phone call.
2014, Nigeria's first insurtech platform was formed, Moto Juniors.
I believe there's a huge opportunity to reshape the narrative of insurance.
This is Arun Iyer, founder and CEO of Alpha Direct.
Dr. Neto, founder and CEO of Willa Health.
My name is Benton. I'm the founder and CEO of MTech.
This is Glo, the CTO at Pineapple.
This is Herman from Austria, Managing Director of Insurance.
So join us for the new season of InsurTech Business Series podcast. Fresh conversations on InsurTech in Africa. Subscribe now.
Please join me to welcome Festus.
Hi, thank you. Appreciate you getting me on your podcast. It's been something that I've been looking forward to. So it's an honor to be here. It's a good thing.
Awesome. Thank you again for coming on and looking forward to an interesting conversation. Tell us about your journey. Give us a bit of background on your journey into entrepreneurship. And again, maybe answering this question at the end, why insurance?
I'm Festus William Amoyao. I'm the CEO and co-founder of FigTech Limited, which is a digital insurance provider in Ghana, or what you just typically describe as an insurtech. My journey, I would say, commenced more than 2 decades ago. After completing the first degree, I was passionate about what we call small, medium enterprises. So I started working with different organizations, including banks and others, to understand how small, medium enterprises can be better supported when it comes to financial services. I transitioned from the banking sector into the VC and private equity world as well, worked with different international fund managers, etc. But then in 2021, my whole conversation around working with VCs and PE funds turned into being an entrepreneur, because I realized there was a gap where people found it difficult to identify the right financial services or the financial product that will meet their need. And then also we realized that there wasn't a lot of digitization across some of the value chains when it comes to financial services. If you know, in Africa, mobile payment, money payment from Kenya has spread very well in some of the African countries. And beyond that, that is it. You don't see a lot of digital play. Yes, people can take up a loan and etc. But when it comes to the insurance space, when it comes to investment and pensions, the level of digitization is quite low. But beyond that, we realize that we need customers to be very close to where their heart is, and that is what led us to start FigTech. And we focused on insurance, and particularly on life insurance, because we believe that people have to always plan for the future. Life insurance is one product that will help them to be able to plan going into the future, and that is where our journey has been so far in Ghana.
When I was looking at it, just to mention that you're being modest, because your experience, I've seen you working with Women's World Bank in ECOWAS, World Bank, right? Just wanted to mention that. Right? But if you're looking at FigTech, right? InsurTech, great.
Yeah.
But there are not so many InsurTech, at least on the continent, that are focused on life insurance, right? So
yes.
How did you come to life insurance? Because correct me if I'm wrong, that's the main thing that you are offering. That's the only product line that you're playing in?
Yeah, what we've done is we've developed an app that enable users to be able to compare different life insurance products from different insurers. As you can know, it's very, very challenging for a lot of people. People are frustrated in identifying the right life insurance product that they will need, and it's sometimes very time consuming as well, because they need to understand all the hidden fees. They need to understand what the policy, is about, etc. And therefore, they shy away from taking up products when it comes to life insurance. They also don't trust the insurers to give them what they want when the time comes. And so we felt that going into that area where we bring together insurers who provide life policies for us is very important for the person who is buying life insurance. By law, most people buy different kinds of insurance. So if you buy a car, you are necessarily required by law to buy an insurance policy, okay? But when it comes to life insurance, it's more about a personal decision because you are planning for the future or you are trying to take care of a risk that probably may cause certain challenges for you going into the future. And hence, we want to drive that into the mind of people that, yes, you want to put money away in treasury bills, you want to put money in your pension, but you can also, buy a life insurance policy that will contribute to your pension in the future or that may take care of any eventualities that may occur as you live. And when you buy life insurance, actually, you don't buy it for yourself. You are buying for the loved ones that you may leave behind. And that is why it is important that we, for FigTech and our app, My Faith, the focus is on life insurance at the moment.
So FigTech, and we'll come to some details around FigTech, but I want us to take a few steps back and look at the Ghanaian insurance market and the insurance innovation market. Can you sort of paint a picture of what those two, for example, look like currently? InsurTech is picking up a lot of steam, and it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on how is it thriving in that market.
Prior to 2021, the laws around insurance the Insurance Act, didn't have any room for any innovative insurance, other insurance product, insurance or innovative insurance intermediary or innovative reinsurance. It was purely what we call the vanilla kind of, insurance where there is an insurer and then there are agents, individual agents, and there are brokers or what they call, special arrangement, for example, bank assurance, or there is some kind of a relationship with an insurance, a telco. So we had those kind of arrangements. We have a typical broker that an individual will go to a broker and the broker will tell them these are the products available and you make a choice. But, the law being changed, we were one of the companies that was selected among 9 other companies. So we had 10 companies that were accepted into what we call the InnoLab InsurTech Accelerator Program. That was supported by FSD Africa.
FSD, right.
Yeah, so, we got in there. But prior to that, there was limited or very low level of digitization in the space by independent companies. Yes, some of the companies, that is insurance companies, they develop their own app that you can buy, or some are using bots, WhatsApp bots, and etc., that the individual will interact with the company, but it wasn't comprehensive enough. So from that 10 companies, we started working together, and by the end of the year, we had gone through the accelerator program and all of that. But then the sandbox regime for Ghana was not ready. So we spent the whole of 2023, working with the regulator to develop the sandbox program. So I might say that, when it comes to InsurTech in Ghana, it's still nascent. It hasn't really picked up, even though the regulator is pushing hard to make sure that, we have more InsurTechs in Ghana.
Right.
So that is where we are in terms of the development of the InsurTech ecosystem.
From the insurer's point of view, what's their reception to InsurTech or insurance innovation, or really innovation being a key player to growing the market?
It's mixed, I would say. For the insurers,
I can imagine.
Yes, for the insurers, insurers are very risk averse, even though they provide risk cover. Because
correct. And then huge irony.
And then there's also the other side of a lot of them have legacy systems. So these legacy systems are not able to, interact with some of the new stuff that we have. For example, FigTech, our app works with companies that have developed APIs, so that it's easier for us to be able to interact with the backend of the insurance system when we call for, say, the premium price or a cover, etc. But most insurers don't have, up-to-date systems, and that means that they may be left behind when you are working with them. So there's those kind of challenges with some of the insurance companies, but those that are forward-looking are up and ready. And then we also have the issue of some of the brokers, who I think the brokers have been a bit more of a barrier because they think that digitization will take away their business, and so they are not, or either they are not too comfortable, or they haven't grasp the whole concept of what insurtechs are doing. And it is a work that we have to do. We just about 2 years or 3 years down the line when the new act came into being, and it's been a very, very slow pace conversation.
But it's very interesting and exciting to see the journey, right? And I think the first step is if the regulator is buying into the whole idea around innovation and how that can play, because their role is to cultivate the ecosystem, to cultivate the industry for everyone to be able to play. So very interesting to see some of these developments. And we can move a little forward now and get back to where we stopped earlier, speaking about FigTech. Talk to us around the fact that you are playing within the life insurance space and looking to solve some things within that line of business. The first question I have here will be, what has been your experience building FigTech within your market? What are the learnings that you've gotten? What are the errors, for example, that you made, right? And looking at your model as well, it's safe to assume that what you kicked off, with in 2021 is not the version that it is today. Can you tell us what that experience has been?
Like I mentioned to you, I used to sit at the other side of the table where I used to scrutinize companies who are looking for funding, ask all kinds of questions. And sometimes when you are sitting at the other side of the table, you don't know what the journey, you may not even understand the challenges these guys have gone through before they reach where they are to try to even look for money. When we started FigTech, what I told myself was that, look, I am going for entrepreneurship 101 because I'm not, even though I used to do VC and PE, I am going to the basics. I need to understand how these guys are able to build the great and to be able to go through the challenges that comes with it, especially when you operate in a regulatory environment. The unknowns are a lot. So I was open-minded to learn, and I wasn't going to a lot of people that, look, I've worked in investment banking for so many years. So when we started, talking to insurers, nobody was ready to engage with us, actually, which was expected in some ways or the other. So the interesting thing is that I had also bought life insurance policies before. So I had certain document information. The co-founder, who is the CTO, had no knowledge about insurance. So we had to build everything from our own understanding and interviewing people who are in the insurance space, especially the agents who work in the insurance space, asking them all kinds of questions and using those questions to build our app. And obviously, when we entered the accelerator program, a lot changed, but the focus was that this is what we want to do. And even though we don't have a insurance who were ready to come on board, we had built our prototype. And that kind of gave us a leap in terms of doing the accelerator program and everything, because we had a product already. All that we need to do was to fine-tune it. If we get a partner coming on board, it makes it even far better for us. So it's been a long journey. For 4 years, we were still, hitting on the door of the regulator, taking part in all kinds of, programs, winning awards here and there, but it's been tough. And I tell people that, if you are not ready, don't start the journey, because 3 years we were waiting for a regulatory approval. And so we had to maintain our systems and everything. We had a partner and insurance on board, but we didn't have a license. So we still had to maintain our systems and everything. You are not any revenue, but we have to keep working and making sure that the process is on. And that has been the journey. It's been a tough one, but
how do you keep the lights on? Because I know a lot of people have this experience.
Hi, I'm Rehab Karaoke, an engagement director at Busara. I do behavior research in insurance, and my mission in life is to get people to love insurance. Please listen to the InsurTech business series for more of that.
Yeah, we have to keep the lights on. We had some family and friends who believed in what we were doing, so they supported us. And then I have to pull resources from other, areas to continue to keep the lights on. And I will give it up to my team because they've believed in what we are doing. And so when even there's no powder in the gun, they still kept, pushing. So that is where we have come from.
You talked about the market and some of the things that has happened from the regulator side. And I know that recently you admitted into the Sandbox program. Can you tell us a bit more about that program and the kind of opportunity that will be opening up to you now?
So after we took part in the accelerator program of the National Insurance Commission, we were placed on a list that after the Sandbox regime had been, clearly defined, we had to apply. So we applied to the National Insurance Commission. That was sometime last year, and they went through the proper and fit, process and everything. And about 5 companies were admitted into the regulated Sandbox program. That was somewhere last year, July, that we were given the go ahead to work with insurers in the industry. So, for example, FigTech we've been given approval to work with at least 3 insurers. Already we had 1 on the platform, so we are working with 2 others to onboard them on the platform. It's been quite a journey because we are all learning. The regulator is also learning and trying to understand what it takes for a digital player to be in the space. Issues of cyber security, issues of data breach are all conversations that continue to come up to ensure that the users of our platforms trust what we are doing. Already, a lot of users have some kind of distrust for insurers. And so if we are coming on board to bridge the gap, then we have to make sure that what we are doing is above board. So it's been a learning curve for us, and we are hoping that we will succeed and open the opportunity for other insurtechs to also come through.
Good to see that there are some moves, for example, in your market. Just to get a clear picture, as of today, is there a license for insurtech? So if you want to be an insurtech and play in Ghanaian market, is there a license route existing currently?
No, there's no licenses. What they have is a sandbox, and that sandbox, so they admit a cohort of insurtechs into the sandbox,
right?
And we have 2 years. You have first 1 year, and then subsequently you are given another 1 year if you have not been able to complete whatever you are supposed to do. So basically, what happens is it's going to ultimately evolve into some kind of a license.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But that license doesn't exist. I guess they want to learn.
No. Exactly. They want to use the whole sandbox program to learn on what should be in place for a license to be issued ultimately. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. I think that's a good one. That's a good one. And I'm just looking at the level of penetration for insurance generally on the African continent. It's very low, right? And innovation is a huge tool that can help us bridge those gaps. I think when you were speaking earlier, you mentioned the exploits in the payment space from Kenya, with M-Pesa, and how that has really changed the landscape in terms of payments within that market and East African region, right? There's a lot that innovation and technology and players from outside. When you were speaking, I was laughing on my side here when you mentioned that your co-founder had no experience with insurance. One of the things that we've seen is that many people who are looking to disrupt the space are from outside, right? So looking at insurtech as a concept, as this idea that could help change the narrative of insurance, that can get people the protection that they need. I want to get your thoughts in terms of what kind of impact players like yourself can have on the Ghanaian market and even on the African continent. Recently, we had the news from Naked, raising a significant amount of money to push on with their work in the South African market. What kind of impact do you envisage players like yourself, InsurTech, really having on the insurance landscape on the continent?
The word disruption, kind of sometimes sends the wrong signal into the spam.
You don't want your insurance hearing you.
Exactly. So for me, I think it's more complementary than disruption, because you see, the landscape or the needs of users are changing every day. Okay, a decade and a half ago, you couldn't send money by mobile phone, isn't it? But now you can do that easily. So people are beginning to be more comfortable using their devices to transact business than trying to get an agent to walk through the door to sell insurance to them, or be able to say, let me call this company and check how many companies can I call to find out the best product that fits my need, or how many companies can I call to get a quote on my life insurance policy or a typical insurance policy. People want some kind of convenience. And so we as players in the sector, we want to help our users to be able to meet their needs in real time. I always tell people that when you are sitting down in the comfort of your sofa watching a football match, you should be able to buy a life insurance policy without stress, because you see it right on your device at halftime of a football match. You can always check, okay, what are the products that are available, and can I just subscribe to it? So we are here to ensure that we widen the penetration. The penetration when it comes to insurance in Africa is very low. Nigeria, the most populated country in Africa, still have barely 2% in terms of penetration. And why can't we make it possible for people to have such service? So we are there to support the existing players to make their life better. We want to help them also use data. And as you know, data has become very valuable. AI is doing what AI is doing because there is a data to support, the activities.
Absolutely.
Of AI. So if we can get the data in real time for industry players, it will help them to be able to evolve. They can then develop new products. Now you have one product with different names because everybody is trying to use the same product, but they come with different names. They still don't meet the needs of the customer. So why don't we use, the data we gather and try to understand the needs of the customer and ensure that we meet them at the point of their need. The pain points and everything is reduced. So that is what InsurTechs are there to do. A couple of years ago, we talked about disruption, but it doesn't really has that impact because we still operate in a very conservative industry, which is insurance. And we still have people who are very unsure of what insurance offer. So we want to complement the industry. We want to make sure that we help them to understand their customers better and to be able to sell the right product to their customers so they can continue doing business.
And speaking of data, right, where does the penetration rate sit in Ghana?
I'll tell you, it's very low. So if you look at it on the penetration in respect of GDP, we are barely to 1%. We are somewhere around 1%. So it's still very low. It's still very low.
Very low. And again, South Africa just seems an outlier,
Exactly. I think South Africa is Morocco.
So for me, all of that speaks opportunity, right? And that's why, I'm very much invested in what the future of InsurTech is going to be on the continent and the opportunities that really does exist. And I think since I have you, right, and looking at your experience, within the investment side, now you are an entrepreneur doing InsurTech. There is that imbalance or reduced flow, limited flow of funding towards InsurTechs. Yes, we hear of players within the South African market, but not so much in the other markets. So Amenly also announced something earlier this year, towards the end of last year, earlier this year, about investment as well. But we look at all the other markets, we're not seeing that much traction. We are wearing the entrepreneurship cap now. You've won the investment cap. You actually need the funding to run.
Yes.
And you also mentioned now that it's been difficult keeping the lights on.
That is quite true. Unfortunately, what we do see is that most of the funds that are supposed to be invested in Africa are funds that are coming from perhaps North America, Europe, or in the recent times, Asia. And these funds that have been set up to invest in early stage businesses often than not don't understand the landscape of Africa. But Africa has one of the highest number of young people in the whole world. So it tells me that Africa is the future if you want to invest, because the things that we are doing, some of us are doing in the digital space, is focused on the young people. So, for example, my 17-year-old son is using a laptop, uses a mobile phone. And if that person can grasp the concept of life insurance from the comfort of their mobile phone, then obviously by the time they are done with university, they are buying life insurance policies or insurance. They understand why they should have such policies in their portfolio. And
making
therefore,
it a lifestyle.
Exactly, it becomes a lifestyle. And therefore, I will encourage the practitioners out there who hear some of these voices that, look, Africa has a lot of opportunity. We are nowhere near what is happening in the rest of the world. So if the average insurance penetration in the world is 7%, and most African countries, if you combine all of us, we are just 1%. There's a 6% gap to reach even the world average. And that means that there's huge opportunity here. And so they should turn their eye onto the continent and begin to support companies like us. Some of us have built wealth of experience, and we come to this market with that experience as well and be able to drive the kind of change that is expected. And so we are open to investors who want to talk to us. We are a pre-seed, but we are raising money so we can keep the light on. There's opportunity, but for us, the plan is that we may open up in other African countries, but we take it one step at a time and make sure that whatever mistakes we learn from one market, we don't take it to the another market. And that is why we started in Ghana. Yeah. And very soon I'm hoping to come into Nigeria because I've been watching that market very well. So investors should not be shy away from taking the risk and backing some of us to succeed.
Yeah, and I think you just answered my next question, because I wanted to ask what's next for FigTech, and very interesting times definitely ahead. And I hear you and I echo it.
Yeah, right. And so what is next for us is that just before the year ran out, in 2024, we signed the first insurer on our platform. Not that it's been there, but the agreement and everything was signed just before the year ended. And this is a company, is the third largest in the life insurance markets in Ghana. I'm sure even they may be the second now, but they've been the third largest. And we are talking to other bigger life insurance companies that are desirous of being our platform because nobody wants to be left behind.
Yeah.
So you can find our app, My Fig, on Android, and you can also download it from iOS. And it's working fantastic.
Great. We are happy to hear of some of these updates. And please, wherever we need to help, please share with us. We can amplify on our platforms as well. If we have investors, for example, like we mentioned earlier, people who want to collaborate with you as well, listening, how can they reach out? LinkedIn, email?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Festus William Amoyao. I'm there. We have a website, myfigtech.com. You can find our product there. You can find the contact and reach us, or you can send us email info@myfigtech.com.
Great. And I look forward to hearing news of collaborations and opportunities opening in other markets, just like you mentioned. And yes, we are looking forward to hosting you here in Nigeria. But very interesting conversation, very interesting insights as regards the Ghanaian market and some of the work that has been done on the innovation side and even specifically at FigTech. Thank you very much, Festus. This has been super interesting. We have been looking forward to hearing about the Ghanaian market, and this is good insight as to what's happening in that space. And I'm sure that a lot of people who are hearing this would appreciate what you shared.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you hosting me. And I look forward to more collaboration. You know, in Ghana, we have the InsurTech Ghana, which brings together InsurTech early stage businesses that are we are also part of the Global InsurTech Association. And we are looking forward to encouraging Nigeria to also have InsurTech Nigeria, so that together we can build an ecosystem for investors to understand what we are doing and also try to influence some of the conversations around insurance, etc.
Absolutely. That's something that we definitely are keen on as well on this side. And it's very important because nobody can tell our story like us, right?
Exactly.
So you know your challenges, and so you know how best to tell it and the opportunities that exist. So yes, definitely we'll see how we can collaborate